Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do an updated review on the Bambu Labs P1P and P1S. I did a review like a year and a half ago, and that video has, I think, over 30,000 views at this point. And of course, there's another Bambu Lab sale going on, so I figured why not make an updated review now that I have more than double the print hours that I used to have on those old printers, which are actually still technically behind me, and kind of give my updated thoughts and opinions and all the issues I've had up to here, kind of summarize things and say yay or nay whether or not I'd buy more. Spoiler alert, I would buy more if I needed them. Currently I don't, but I have my computer right here with notes on it, and just to give you an update, on the print hours, if you watch my last video, I have 7,826 print hours. It's more than that since these have been running since that video. And my cons have changed a little bit. My pros are basically the same. And the cons now just are a more wide-angled view now that I've had more machines, more failures, more problems that you get when you typically add more of something to the list. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the pros. The pros, if you watch my last video, are basically the same, right? You have, I even in my notes, I literally said remain mostly the same. You still have your great print quality. They're still fast. They're still reliable. Very low maintenance, especially if you look at like what I've had to replace on the machine itself in the past 3 years now, I guess. Realistically, only thing on this, I had to do carbon rods on this one. They were damaged in shipping, realistically, so it wasn't like a warranty maintenance issue. They did get warranted, but it wasn't a maintenance issue. Nozzles, extruders, realistically, I've only had to replace like one or two unless I broke them. Same thing with all of these, like those two machines over there that you can't see, I haven't even replaced nozzles on. I think they're still running the stainless steel ones. I haven't even had to upgrade to hardened steel yet. And then the extruders are still the base extruders. I haven't even put in the hardened steel extruders, even though I have them on hand. But realistically, it's a low maintenance machine. The only thing that ever really needs maintenance, I will cover in the cons because it's a pretty big con to me now, especially having more and more. But in general, it's still a low maintenance machine. It prints really fast. I used to say 400, now I run about 300, and I even tip it down to about 100 nowadays, just because print quality gets even better the slower you go and with these machines. But it's kind of a pain, especially a lot of people, you'll notice like if you're doing flat and then wall, you'll notice like where a bump out is, where the wall starts between the flat layer and the wall. And you can fix that by slowing your printer down and keeping temperatures and speeds the same. So that's one way to do it. But that's something that's easily doable on Bambu Studio, which is one of the pros in my opinion. Bambu Studio is very simple and easy to use if you've been using it for a while. A lot of slicers are actually taking Bambu Studio and kind of adding to it in their own way, which is good and bad because it means everything looks the same, but it also means that there's different settings that you don't know about if you go to use a different slicer. But typically most people using Bambu Lab machines are using Bambu Slicer. Bambu Slicer is great. Maker World is also pretty good. It used to be really small back in the day, but now it's basically the next best thing for a Bambu Lab machine, especially with being able to print from your phone and everything like that. The community is there, the growth is there, and everything is just right there in Bambu Handy and Maker World. Makes using these machines extremely simple, right? You can set up and print in like 20 minutes. You can get going. It's like 30, 40. But you can get a print going extremely quick. You really low barrier of entry. As long as you have the money to put up, these machines will basically do all the work for you, which is why they're so popular. I can't argue that, right? And especially at the price point of like $500 to $820 for the combo. I mean, come on. I mean, there is no other machine on the market right now that it can do that. You can say the Anycubic S1, the ACE system is what holds that entire machine back. The ACE system is so terrible. If they ever fix it, maybe it'll be worth a shit, but right now it's not. In general, the Bambu Lab machines are just going to be extremely fast. Actually, they're not even the fastest machines on the market, but they are definitely one of the most reliable, especially compared to Creality or your Anycubics, even your Elegoo's. Like Bambu Lab just has done a solid job making these machines almost bulletproof for just about any idiot out there like me. They're a great value compared to those machines. I mean, you get multicolor, basically almost, I mean, I can't even count the amount of failures I've had printing on one hand. Like it's probably 3-ish in the last 6 or 7 months. It's been extremely difficult to make something bad happen unless it was my fault. So I can't even argue that. Like if I know what I'm doing, and I'm only having issues that are caused by me, then somebody who doesn't know what they're doing maybe will have more issues, but they usually just print and forget and they don't have to worry about it because that's what the whole ecosystem is centered around. Again, I'm going to say low maintenance. For majority of these machines, they are very low maintenance, very easy to do maintenance on. And then I think I'm just going to move right into the cons now. When it comes to maintenance, you might have to not do it very often, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like if you want to replace a nozzle, it ain't simple. It ain't simple, bud. Sure, it's only 2 screws and a connector and then another connector, and then it pops down, and then your extruder's still in there, and your extruder is 3 screws to come out, and then you have to take it apart to get the extruder gears out. It's not simple and easy by any means. It is a pain in the ass to do maintenance on the machines. But the upside to that is, again, you don't have as much maintenance to do. I used to say I would replace the nozzle every 1,000 hours. Nah, I ain't doing that anymore. Not even close. I probably do it when I either break them or I see the nozzle like visibly not doing good. I have some nozzles, I think in shadow right there, I think I have some a nozzle in there that looks absolutely atrocious, but it still does fine. I do still have the purge chute issue, which on the X1C is fixed because AI detection can tell you when the purge chute's full and it doesn't cause you to lose steps. If you have the purge chute issue on this one, which is where it's completely user caused, and I'll admit that I'm incompetent when it comes to it. Forgetting to empty the purge chute on the back of the printers will fill up the purge chute, and your nozzle will get stuck in it, and it'll harden the more and more color changes it does, and it goes to move, and it can't, it skips, and sometimes it'll bend your nozzle. That's probably the biggest drawback to these machines, is they don't have that AI detection. Do you need dynamic flow calibration and all that? No. No. Take everybody who runs a business. You do not need it. Is it nice to have? Yeah, because it kind of takes the guesswork out of it, but then again, I just run Bamboo settings for literally every single filament I print, and I don't have issues. If I do have issues, I'll run a quick little G-code edit and I'll run some flow tests just to make sure. But most of the time, 0.02 is like what I go to and like what it sticks at for a majority of flow calcs. But other than that, like the machines in general are just good machines. I'm not even gonna knock it. Bamboo isn't paying me to say that. I do have some pretty big negatives from a personal perspective, right? It has nothing to do with the community, right? Bamboo Lab is a pretty locked down ecosystem. This is a con to me. I don't like the lockdown ecosystem. I don't like that. I like being able to change and modify and edit things and do what I want with it, maybe upgrade it or downgrade it in a way that I see fit. You don't get to do that with Bamboo Lab machines. You can, don't get me wrong, but then Bamboo Lab is absolutely no help if you mess something up. You're kind of screwed. And if you're going to do that anyways, you're probably to the point in life where you want to do that. You might as well just build a Voron like I have on the ground over here. Stealth Changer's coming for it soon. But you get to a point with Bamboo Lab where you either accept the fact that you're not going to be able to do anything and that all third-party stuff is basically just out the door, or you never upgrade your firmware again, and then you risk the chance of course, them just not allowing your machine to connect to the internet because it's not up to date anymore. They can do that, and they will do that because they don't care what you think, right? That's one of my biggest caveats to these machines is I don't like closed source. 3D printing used to be all about open source, right? And now it's not there. These machines are not open source. With that, that's one of my biggest negatives. The next biggest negative is actually the AMS system on this. Now, I don't know if the AMS2 is a great machine ad yet. I haven't used one. I haven't ordered one. Quite frankly, I don't care. I know the PTFE tubes are going to be easy to replace. That's great. That's not the biggest issue I have. The biggest issue when it comes to the AMS machines is with these two parts right here. So this is a feed funnel. If some piece of filament gets stuck in here and blows up and gets stuck in your gears, or this feed funnel gets worn out, like you're gonna have to replace this thing. It's $34. It's pretty simple to replace, but it's a pain, right? If this goes out, you can't print anymore. You're done, right? Just swap to the next area. If you're in the middle of a print, tough shit. Right, you can't do it because it's expecting it to go back into this. It's not going to change over, and you're just done. The print's failed. Oh well. Which I mean, it's the same with every AMS. Don't get me wrong, but this is a big issue, right? And you're going to need to replace them a lot. These feed funnels I've replaced, I don't know, 12 or so of them. It's just part of it. This thing right here is really what kills me. This is a $35 AMS secondary feed motor. This is what feeds your filament from the back of the AMS through that 4-prong buffer to the printer. This gets used every single time you feed filament, every single time you change filament, and it's spinning forwards and backwards. So this burns up pretty fast in terms of like what it should be doing and what it is doing. And I think this personally is one of the biggest drawbacks for the AMS system, and one of the biggest drawbacks for the P1S, P1P, even the X1 carbon, anything that uses the standard AMS. Like if this part goes out, it doesn't necessarily stop you from printing, okay? It doesn't necessarily stop you from printing, but it will cause you a ton of AMS overload errors. And if that happens, you might as well give up printing, because you don't want to come in here every 5 minutes it does a color change. Or, I mean, I've had to sit there for 2 hours feeding the filament just because I didn't want a 20-hour print to fail. So this is like, Box Turtle did something extremely good when they did theirs, and they made each motor feed these things independently fed without a secondary motor, right? In fact, these are actually the same motors that are on here, but they did it to where you can, if something happens, you can swap the motor out and you can keep going. This isn't like that. You're screwed. You're absolutely dead in the water if this fails. And that to me is not great, right? I don't like the only failing part of the machine to be the most important part of the machine, because you buy the machine for that purpose. A lot of people buy these machines to do multicolor or multi-material printing, and not really multi-material, mostly multicolor printing, so they can do some cool stuff. If one of these goes out, you're just dead in the water until you order a new one. And most people, when you do order new parts, you're not thinking about, oh, I need extra AMS parts. I missed it for the first 1.5 years. But here I am, every time I order an AMS, I order basically a complete secondary AMS to replace parts with. Not really, but you know, I order 2 of these or 1 of these, and I order another 1 of these. You know, it's an additional $100 in parts just to make sure my AMSs don't fail. And that irritating. I can deal with PTFE tubes all day, even if you take them out, but the AMS to me is one of the major drawbacks, and it's still one of the best AMS units on the market, which is sad, to say the least. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. The AMS2 Pro can't dry while it's heating or while you're printing, but it's okay. It's still good. But yeah, that's just something that in my first video I never mentioned. Like, if the AMS goes out, you're kind of screwed unless you're using a spool in the back, and you can't just swap during mid-print. You can't do that. So unless you can, I've never been able to. I've never tried. Usually because by that point the print's kind of already screwed, or you're already dead in the water. But maybe it's possible now. I just nowadays I don't care anymore. It's just the print's done. So let's summarize real quick. Let's go over the pros and cons one last time, and then I'll cut the video here. Pros: they're fast, they're easy to use, they're a great value compared to other machines, especially right now in that $500, $800 range. Like, that is just phenomenal for what these things can do. It still has a relatively normal build volume, so 250 millimeters cube. It's 256, I know. I'm going to say 250 anyways. And that's a good size build volume. That takes care of mostly everybody on planet Earth, unless you're me and you want 350 for some reason. But 256 millimeters, that's a good build plate volume. I can't really fault it there. It is really nice in terms of size and reliability and speed. Like, it's all kind of mixed together in that one area, and it just makes for a nice, simple machine, especially aesthetically pleasing. I mean, look, very square, very easy. I mean, it does look nice. And then the community is large, and there's low maintenance on these machines relatively, except the AMSs. I have to do more and more work on the AMSs. The cons: there's still the purge chute issue. If you're not careful, you need to make sure you empty the purge chute every time. Just keep up with it, or even have it empty under the table. I'm working on that right now. I'm actually going to print a whole bunch of parts here and get that done with. There's no AI detection. There's no AI calibration. Repairing them is kind of a pain, and then the AMS does need a lot of attention. One other thing I'll mention in here, which I kind of forget because I've rectified, is they're loud. So I put on these things. This whole thing is screwed into the studs in the walls, so the vibration carries through the house. The only way to fix that, you can put the anti-vibration feed on. It doesn't work. It works a little bit, not really. But these concrete pads or whatever, pavers, are what I put underneath it, and it has fixed that problem 100%. So it sucks you have to do that in order to kind of fix your vibration, or like if you leave them on carpet, it's really not that big of a deal. But that is one other thing, is a con, is like the sound, and you can do anti-vibration to kind of mitigate that. That's the only way really to do it. But other than that, like, that's kind of my pros and cons. Would I buy one of these machines? Yes. I mean, I have 4. I would buy more if I had the need for it. My business currently sits at 4, and I use 4 for prototyping, and it works fine. And I have no issues. Would I recommend them to anybody else starting? Yes. Right now, you can get an AMS combo for, if I'm not mistaken, Bamble Labs website right now. A P1S combo is $700. A AMS2 Pro combo is $820, and if you want to get it with the buffer, it's $799 instead, shipped separately. So, you know, $800 for AMS2 Pro. I think that's a killer deal in terms of what you're getting. I know you can't dry and print at the same time, but like, that's a reasonable accommodation considering, well, actually, no, it's really not, considering the fact that you do have to have a separate power supply. Anyways, the value's there. If you don't want to pay that much, the A1 combo, killer deal. You can make it take up less space with some modifications and printed parts. A1 Mini, I don't necessarily recommend them. I sold mine. They just weren't getting enough use compared to, just because of the size. Like, they just weren't big enough for what I was doing. A1 could definitely fit that. But in general, I would buy a P1S again. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if this helps you out at all. You can go check out my older video. It's a little bit more boring. But this one in general, like, more of a rant. Sorry. The AMS really angers me, but it is still a solid machine, and I highly suggest you pick one up if you're in the market for one. Will you regret it? Absolutely fucking not. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. I'll get out there and print some shit.